On this episode of MythBusters, it's a shocking state of affairs. Adam and Jamie have a MythBuster meltdown.
I'm just expressing my opinion, and I'm not giving you about your opinion.
And find themselves in over their heads to make killer quicksand.
If the pump stops during the experiment, we could die because we'll be encased in 20,000 pounds of sand.
And see what happens when tattoos and technology meet. Can body art go boom? Who are the MythBusters?
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
Quack, damn you.
I wouldn't say Jamie's an evil genius.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
When will the fun ever stop?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. Few things are more shocking than Adam in a bathrobe, but the first myth gets close.
What's with the bathrobe?
Well, Jamie, this time we are attacking one of the classic Hollywood movie myths, which is simply, if you threw an electrical appliance into my bath, I'd get electrocuted.
Right, well that means appliances. Our favorite haunts.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
As Adam said, this grisly death is a favorite with filmmakers. Take Chucky, for example. Our demonic doll gives the bathing beauty a bath time buzz.
Lots of appliances. And I see some ground fault interrupters on them.
So there's a rule here about these?
Thrifttown cannot sell hair dryers without GFI switches for safety purposes, which means, you know, if these are dropped into a bathtub, they would turn off
Immediately.
Yes.
A ground fault interrupter detects any sudden change in the flow of electricity and immediately shuts off the current.
Older appliances don't have ground fault interrupters, and so they're potentially more dangerous. So we need to get some of those.
Here's a radio. This would definitely be next to your bathtub.
What about this? You know, it's like zzz, versus zzz. I think this has got more power to it.
No, I think it's this one.
We have a small TV that'll fit into the bathtub.
Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly the television we need.
Honey, I'm home.
The MythBusters have wildly differing ideas about what will happen when these pre-loved appliances hit the water. Jamie's negative.
The analogy that I have about what would happen would be about like lowering a light bulb into the water of the bathtub after you put the toaster in and expecting the light bulb to light up. Now, I know that's not going to happen.
Adam's positive.
He doesn't realize that the live power of the AC is going to come through one leg. The bathtub with the drain pipe is going to ground to earth, and you will be a very fabulous conductor of electricity in that short journey the electricity is making from the appliance to the ground, and it will kill you very quickly, I believe.
Do I know that you won't get electrocuted? I'm not so sure that I'm ready to jump in the tub quite yet, but I don't think so.
To be honest, if Jamie doesn't think anything's going to happen, I have no problem dropping a hairdryer in the bathtub while he's sitting in it. But something tells me he won't.
Adam, we have about every possible appliance you could drop in a bath, and a few more. What's next?
I don't want to test this in just any old bathroom. I'd like to actually have an isolated bathroom where we can get clean tests safely with this. So I'm thinking about having one of the teams of builders build us a bathroom set that is, you know, fully isolated, insulated, and waterproof with a grounded bathtub in it, and perhaps above that something like a resettable collapsing shelf where we can put the appliance on and can continually fall into the tub.
Tori and Christine, that's your cue. The boys need a bathroom.
All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to recreate a real bathroom, as close to a real bathroom as possible. So I'm gonna put up 2 walls here, we're gonna tile it, and then I'm gonna have a bathtub here, a sink there, and a toilet there, and hopefully that'll give them what they need.
Rented it for $10, and it's dripping on me. God knows what's in this water.
And the glamour doesn't end there.
Oh yeah, I always get the best jobs.
Of course, they'll need to know how much current is flowing through the water.
This is an amp reader going through, the ground is going to go through that so we can read our amps. And then this is going to go attached to the drain of the bathtub to ground the bathtub.
Now, according to Adam, amperage, not voltage, is the killer. And the lethal limit? He says 70 milliamps.
Right.
Pump somebody with 1,000,000 volts and it's going to hurt him, but if it's under 70 milliamps,
You're not gonna
it's not
kill
going
him.
to kill him. Your average static electricity shock that you can feel is
Yeah.
like 10 to 30,000 volts.
Now, the basic idea is this. There's a body in the bath, in this case, a dummy made from ballistics gel. 2 copper paddles in the dummy's chest represent the heart. The paddles are wired up to a relay, which will trip when the current passing between them hits 70 milliamps. That means death. The bathtub's insulated and ready to go. Now, they need someone to get in it.
So what we've got to do is we've got to make a full ballistic gel body for the appliances in the bathtub myth. And we're going to use this old mold that Jamie has, which is a beautiful fiberglass mold. We're going to have to seal this puppy because ballistics gel filling all the way up, if it starts to leak, we're absolutely screwed. And we ran into trouble on that last season.
This time, he's taking no chances. Once the mold has been well greased with lard,
Jamie's built entire special effects sets out of lard.
it's sealed tight with silicone and aluminum tape.
Just for safety's sake, double. We do it double. Once we do the whole scene, we'll go back and do it again. Okay.
Now, just pack ice around the mold.
All right, well, let's start getting our buckets and pouring, and pray God we have enough.
Pour in the liquid gel and wait for the dummy to set. Adam's feeling just a little nervous.
Let's get on our knees and pray. I don't know to whom. Is there a patron saint of ballistics gel? Killer Quicksand. Is that why I'm standing here in this stupid pith helmet?
No, you're standing there in a stupid pith helmet because you're an idiot. The myth on this one is not whether quicksand exists, it's whether killer quicksand exists. Like you see in the movies, the stuff that actually sucks you down.
So we're going to try and replicate a killer quicksand that would have some kind of suction effect or something that would drag someone all the way under.
Exactly.
It's another classic Hollywood horror. Johnny Weissmuller could always rely on killer quicksand to swallow Tarzan's enemies. But is there even a grain of truth in the killer quicksand story? Can you really be sucked down into a bottomless pit?
It's right around the corner up here, right?
Yeah, have you ever been there before?
Yeah, this is a place I've bought fake eyeballs.
The funny thing is, no one knows if killer quicksand exists, but everyone knows what to do if they ever fall in some.
Isn't that the myth, the myth about quicksand, that you shouldn't fight it? You should, the more you fight, the faster you sink?
Yeah,
At least that's what I saw in the Tarzan movies.
Exactly.
Jamie's already got a particular sand particle theory.
So there's got to be some kind of threshold of fineness where at a certain point it just will stay in suspension like mud.
Right. Well, but then we need something that we need, like the lowest density stuff you've got.
A bag of your finest sand, please. And we do mean your finest. The guys settled on 2 types of fine-grained sand and some clay powder.
So, Bob, if we come up with some killer quicksand, we'll give you the recipe so you can, and keep your patrons
I
informed.
probably have customers that would like to have it. So yeah, that'd be great.
The question isn't whether quicksand is real. It's real, all right. Just ask Gerald Gray.
I was horseback riding with my family. I was about 8 years old. I was on the Santa Ana River in Southern California, which is a very sandy bottomed river. And we knew it had quicksand, but we never could tell where that was going to be. Their horses missed it and got to shore. My horse went down. He sank to his belly, and I was afraid to get off, and I was warned not to get off because there was quicksand between me and shore. But we managed to get ropes from the horses on shore to my horse and pull him out. Otherwise, he would have perished if he'd been alone.
Quicksand is the result of a process called liquefaction. Water rising from under the ground oversaturates the sand or soil, reducing the friction between the particles until they can no longer bear any weight. When it comes to the full-scale test, Adam and Jamie will need to know the density of their quicksand mix. If it's more dense than normal water, it might be a little difficult to sink. So Myth-turned Christine is sent off to make a hydrometer, an instrument which measures the liquid density. A hydrometer is a float with a calibrated stem. Lead shot acts as ballast, keeping the float vertical. You take the reading at the point where stem and liquid meet. Unfortunately, one little slip and Christine's up to her neck in trouble.
Now you've just ruined my threaded rod. This is trash. So
I'll give you the $1.50 later, okay?
chuck it onto the nut. Think before doing.
Yes.
See, that's not a big mistake on that thing over there. $30,000 machine. So don't do anything without thinking. You know, just stop and think again before you turn anything on or do anything with this until you're really at home with it. Christine's a really hard worker, which is a good place to start. Unfortunately, she doesn't know anything.
Jamie is a very good teacher, actually. He'll pick things that are just out of my range of ability, show me how to do them, and then go away. Walk away and say, I need this by 4, which is actually very effective with me, so.
One of the things that we do here for a living is normally using tools and materials in ways that they're not intended to be used. That's what we do. So when we've got junior people involved with that kind of thing, I have to kind of stop and make a mental note. I'm like, this is a potential hazard. You didn't glue that in upside down, did you? I can't leave you alone for a second, can I? I think we need to test it in scale first because, you know, the real deal is going to involve a lot of material, so we want to kind of figure out what works best first. And I figured we rig some 5-gallon buckets, maybe some ways of plumbing them with water to come up through the bottom of the sand. That probably involves some sort of filter device on the bottom. And then once we get it all dialed in and figure out how it works, we'll know what we're going to do on the big version.
And we'll see if there's a difference between how the different sands behave, you know, with this kind of flow of water through.
Exactly.
Time for a small-scale test. First, regular sand.
Fill her up. Ah, cool.
Supports it, no problem.
Right. In fact, I can push on it, and I can't push it down.
Okay.
That's not moving anywhere. The sand
Okay.
is totally compacted.
Okay.
So turn it on really low.
Okay.
But what happens when water starts to rise through the sand?
Look at that. It's sucking it up like a cowboy's horse.
But Jamie thinks the water needs to be diffused more evenly through the sand.
So what's going on?
Slight improvements, I hope. I've got a double diffusion going on here. We sacrificed an extra bucket or two for this, but in between it also is this fabric, which is a much finer weave, and it should hold our fine sand, if not the other things, silt or whatever. And
What about...
that goes into this bucket.
Right. How about sealing the outside edge here?
It'll do that. Now that there's no fabric, it actually does a pretty good job of a jam in there.
This time they try one of the sands from the craft store.
Well, at this rate, it's not like I'm plummeting to the bottom, but it is definitely letting me drop a lot quicker than the sand normally would. and it also is resisting pulling back.
Now they're onto something. Or is that into something?
So you think it's about the lowest possible flow?
Yeah. There you go.
That's a lot of suction.
That's enough to cause you a problem if your whole body's doing that.
Well, let's try the finer sand and see if we get a little more control.
Okay.
That's cool. How is it to get back out again? Really easy?
Well, not exactly. I'm gonna try and lift it.
Ooh.
So that actually,
The finer sand makes a difference in its suction.
yeah.
What about the clay powder?
Ooh, that feels fun.
Yeah, this isn't working at all. I mean, this is just mud, and it won't let the water flow through it at all.
So they've settled on the type of sand. And the miniature Quicksand rig works well. But can they make it work on a large scale?
Oh, I think it's definitely going to work. Like, without a doubt, I think we've got this wired. I think we're going to be able to dial the flow in. It's a lot of stuff to move around. I mean, like 20,000 pounds of sand and 15,000 pounds of water and big pumps and stuff. I mean, it's a hell of a deal.
It certainly is. And soon the pressure will start to show.
I'm just
pretend to
expressing my
care.
opinion, and I'm not giving you about your opinion. I'm just saying, I
You
think
give me shit about every one of my opinions.
Meanwhile, Adam and Jamie are trying to find out what happens when an appliance splashes down in your bath. Wow! When that happens, the electrical current leaking from it is drawn towards the metal drain. Now, H2O by itself isn't a great conductor, but the presence of salt helps. And because the human body contains a high concentration of salt water, the current passes right through. It's time to unveil our bath-bound dummy.
Oh, Jamie, we have always dreamed of such a thing.
I think we're good. Let's do it.
He's perfect.
Our first problem has been encountered.
Well, almost.
His arms fell off.
I say we get some carrots and some celery and have a stew.
The copper paddles are inserted into the chest. Ballistic's gel has similar properties to human flesh and should conduct electricity the same way.
This relay is set to be tripped at about 6 volts, which we know from experimentation means that there's about 70 milliamps traveling across the heart.
But it wouldn't be MythBusters without pyrotechnics. So Adam's rigged up a flash pot to ignite when the current hits 70 milliamps.
When we get a lethal voltage across the heart of the dummy, it's going to short this wire, poof, and we'll get a nice poof and we'll all know. And it's instantly reloadable.
The MythBuster way.
3, 2.
That was cool.
Isn't that good?
Right, this bath is hot. Time to apply an appliance. This hairdryer has a ground fault interrupter, so if the MythBusters have created a proper circuit, it should cut out the moment it hits the water.
3, 2, 1, go.
Uh-oh, something's not right.
Oh, look at the water flowing.
It's pumping. What is our amperage? What's our amperage?
0.95 AC.
What kind of ground fault interruption is this? It's pumping water. I would say that's bad.
Well, the relay didn't trip, and the ammeter didn't show enough amperage to kill somebody. That's it. I think we should try an appliance without the ground fault interrupter next. So what do we got?
Well, we got a radio. All right, give me the countdown, baby.
Okay, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, drop.
Tori's shelf collapses like a gallows trapdoor.
We're up to 1 milliamp now.
1 milliamp, 1/70th of a lethal dose of electricity. Well, that's bupkis, I believe, is the scientific term for that.
Something's bupkis, Adam. Question is, what? The MythBusters call in some electrical engineering know-how for a powwow.
Transistor, and then the second part, the part that feeds through the transistor.
That says on the coil right there on
So the current flowing through the bottom.
Turns out there are two faults in the system. Adam and Jamie.
Well, Jamie, I mean, this is just a classic MythBusters screw-up we've got on our hands. First off, the resistance of the human body in the bath is more like 1,000 ohms rather than the 20,000 ohms that we've got read on the ballistics gel. Then it turns out that electrocution is classified as 6 milliamps across the heart, not the 60 we were originally testing for.
And then I screwed up because I had the multimeter on the wrong setting and I was measuring voltage instead of amperage, which meant that we weren't getting the circuit grounded.
Talk about getting your wires crossed. Oh well, even the MythBusters make mistakes. The guys quickly recalibrate the system.
That's it.
And the GFI dryer takes another dive.
2, 1. Well, the ground fault interrupter tripped immediately, thus proving itself a life-saving device.
Okay, so now the circuit's working. This older hairdryer doesn't have a ground fault interrupter. On each drop, the amount of current across the paddles is relayed to Jamie's computer.
I'd call that dead. Yeah, what are you reading, Jamie? I'm seeing 8.5 milliamps here across the heart.
This one is dead as a dodo, well over the threshold.
All right, shall we power down?
So Adam was way off. Forget 70 milliamps. Just 6 milliamps fizzing through a body is enough to cause loss of muscular control, making it impossible to get out of the bath.
Next up, toaster. Smell the danger. All right, you ready?
Recording.
Okay, pulling in 3, 2, 1. Whoa.
Our friend here is toast.
Oh yeah, 12 milliamps. That's very lethal, totally lethal. Toasters, no good. Next item, one of my personal favorites.
The curling iron. Let's go. What are you, Pee Wee Hermione?
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. 4.5. It's gonna be really uncomfortable.
I think you got out of the bath by now.
You think you can? Don't forget, we've got 4.5 milliamps at the heart. It means the rest of your body is gonna be like, lethal dose is 6 milliamps, but 4.5's gotta suck.
4.5 milliamps, it's a little close for comfort. I think I wouldn't want to be in there with that.
And now the iron, or as we refer to it around here, Fierro de los Muertos. Wow, that's the highest spike yet. We got 32 milliamps. This thing is literally pumping death into our subject here.
32 milliamps. That's more than 5 times the lethal limit.
Items that had large heating elements are delivering a lot more current, and that's specifically because a heating element is basically a modified short across wire, so it's a lot of exposure to the water.
The MythBusters also discovered that if the appliance lands closer to the metal drain, the dose of electricity is drastically reduced because the current has less distance to travel.
We know that you can be electrocuted. Now we'd like to find out what would happen if you added something like bubble bath to the water.
Will the water's conductivity be changed?
Nope, that's not as much as it was the last time. It's only about 11 milliamps. Last time it was 18, I believe. The soap suds don't help it at all. In fact, it seems like it cut it down. Next up, we're going to try 200 mils of fake urine in the bath.
Our urine is just water with salt and food dye added.
Fake wee test in 3, 2, 1.
Well, that's got it. It's just right in the death zone.
And finally, Epsom salts. Remember, salt normally increases water's conductivity.
Big spike.
Wow.
That was over an amp. That'd be huge. You'd be toast. You'd fry. You'd boil.
This from the guy who thought nothing would happen.
I really like this one. We learned a lot on this. You can definitely die if you drop an appliance into the tub.
Oh, absolutely. Surprisingly, it actually turns out that the location of where the appliance falls in the bathtub really has a strong effect on the severity of the shock you'd get.
And what's in the water will determine how quickly you die.
Everyone always wants to know if we're just busting myths or if we're actually confirming them. And this one, 100% confirmed. Yeah, we're done.
The MythBusters are trying to create quicksand. Not ordinary quicksand, killer quicksand. Stuff that'll suck you right under.
I'm pretty sure it's going to work. It's just a question of how well, because while I know that we can sink in there, I don't know how fast we're going to get it. The ideal would be to get so you plummet in there, but then you get stuck.
For this one, the guys are going to need one mighty big bucket.
Whoa! Stop!
This 2,000-gallon tank has played a starring role before on MythBusters.
Hey, Adam, did you hear the guy tell us what this was for?
What was it for?
It was like fecal matter.
So I'm going to cut this tank down to just over 8 feet from the inside. Oh, that was really satisfying. These gauze holes will actually allow water to get out, but keep the sand inside, and that'll make the top of our quicksand not like a slurry, but actually look more like sand, which, you know, is more realistic to what people think of quicksand looking like.
Meanwhile, Jamie and Christine start work on the diffuser. The gauze will let water rise into the tank, but stop sand from flowing back into the pump.
So what we've got is a huge 6-foot tank, it's about 8 feet high. We're going to feed water up through this diffuser into 7 feet of sand. And when we get that water to flow at the right rate, what we should end up with is quicksand.
Our task is not only to build quicksand, but killer quicksand. And I have my doubts that we'll be able to do this because when you start to think about what's involved, the sand actually makes it harder for you to drown in it because it's in effect making the water more dense. Water with sand in it is heavier than water without sand in it. Hence, you're going to be more buoyant.
This pool will serve as the catch basin and reciprocating tank for our quicksand rig. You're looking good. Another foot. All right, that ought to do it. Yeah!
The tank's in position.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's time to fill the pool. And that's when the quicksand experiment gets a little sticky.
Crank it all away.
Adam wants to call in a fire hose and get the job done quickly. That means getting permission to use a hydrant, phone calls, probably some expense. But Jamie's happy to use his garden hose.
It's a little under 30 seconds for 5 gallons.
All right, which means 10 gallons a minute. So 10 minutes is 100 gallons, 1,000 gallons is 100 minutes, 2,000 gallons is 200 minutes. It's just over 3 hours to fill that tank, and then another probably hour or 2 to get that pool. So it's 5 hours of filling. That's as opposed to doing the fire hose where it's like 40
3
minutes.
hours and 20 minutes.
His partner won't budge. Under that beret is one stubborn MythBuster.
But
Nope, we can continue to not err on the side of caution and just waste time because you're cheap.
I'm just expressing my opinion, and I'm not giving you your opinion. I'm just saying I think it's
about every one of my opinions. Every last single one of them. Yeah. You have a different one, and you talk until I can't stand to hear you talk anymore, and then we go with your idea.
Yeah, you baby. You know, now I got to listen to you whine about it all the time, and you know, the whole time it's filling, it's like, wah, wah, wah.
I like to do things efficiently and kind of fast, and Jamie is always looking for the kind of lowest amount of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like the least amount of effort involved. So he wants to go with just the garden hose, where I like to go with the fire hose. The fire hose, I know the whole thing's full inside of like 15, 20 minutes, you know, but the garden hose is going to take several hours.
But there's no time for tantrums.
I'm going to go turn on the water.
20,000 pounds of sand have just arrived.
That's a lot of sand!
Along with an engineering geologist who knows plenty about quicksand.
more easily forms in a situation where you have very fine sand. In fact, geologists sometimes call it sugar sand. So most of your quicksand is in really fine-grained sand.
So Tom, the 20,000 pounds of sand we've got here, is this great for quicksand?
Oh, this is probably as good as it gets because it's very fine-grained and there's so much surface area here that when the water flows through it, it means the water can grab onto that and that'll create the quick condition.
This irrigation pump can move up to 1,400 gallons of water a minute. But if it stops while Adam and Jamie are in the quicksand, the sand will suddenly compact. And the MythBusters will have some pressing problems. Adam and Jamie are suddenly facing danger on two fronts. On one hand, the guys could be sucked under by killer quicksand, or they could be crushed.
Tom's pointing out quite realistically that if the pump stops during the experiment, we could die because we'll be encased in 20,000 pounds of sand, is cause for real concern.
Before I talked to Tom, I wasn't that concerned about going into the quicksand, but I think he has a good point, and we should be careful with this.
We'll leave Adam and Jamie to ponder their fine-grained fate. There are a host of medical-related myths swirling around cyberspace. Remember the government mind-controlled chips being placed in the arms of blood donors?
Little sting, here we go.
When Adam and Jamie busted that one, it was a shot in the arm for science and common sense.
I don't notice anything at all. I feel perfectly normal now.
Now the build team have got another myth that'll really get under your skin.
You guys are gonna love this one. Our next bit is called the exploding tattoo. Apparently, the myth goes that if you have some sort of decorative tattoo and go into an MRI, the tattoo explodes.
Oh, are you worried?
Well, I'm assuming that you guys are going to put me into an MRI.
Let's outline the situation. Tattoo ink, especially ink used more than 20 years ago, contains traces of metal. A magnetic resonance imager, or MRI, is basically a powerful magnet with a force at least 30,000 times greater than the Earth's magnetic field. When metal fragments in the tattoo meet the MRI magnet, so the story goes, the result is a lot more painful than actually getting the tattoo in the first place.
So are you going to get an MRI?
No.
No?
No.
You understand that the job on MythBusters is to put your body to the test. And being the one with the tattoos, I think you need to go at least have an MRI on your arm.
Come on, Scotty. Adam and Jamie are about to throw themselves into quicksand. The least you could do is stick your inked up arm in an MRI. After all, it is for science.
My ghost dog.
I think she actually looks scared.
She looks cute in that nightgown, though.
Staff here have heard the exploding tattoo story, but don't think Scotty will wind up incapacitated.
1 or 2 patients out of 100 who have a tattoo and an MRI scan to have a reaction, but the reactions that have been described are all minor, consisting of a little bit of discomfort or some redness at the tattoo, but nobody has described exploding tattoos.
Do you think it's possible that the magnetic field is inducing some sort of current in the pigments or in the material on the tattoo?
It's possible, but it seems unlikely because usually to get induced currents you need lengths of wire or loops, so it's hard to see how these tiny particles could have currents induced in them, but nobody could say it's not happening for sure.
Are you okay?
What's that smell? It smells like sizzling bacon.
At the first sign of trouble, the scan will be stopped.
Looks like a T-bone steak.
Yeah.
An MRI scan targets the body's billions of hydrogen atoms. The atoms line up with the strong magnetic field and are then bombarded by radio waves. The radio waves are absorbed by the atoms and the resulting signal sent to a computer, which turns the data into a 2D image.
Is there any distortion in the image or sign of the tattoo?
No.
No?
Scotty's arm full of ink is still intact. No pain, no discomfort, no explosion.
No, you're looking all right.
But of course, the tattoo myth ain't busted yet. The build teams barely scratched the surface.
We still have to bust this myth. It looks like we're gonna have to do some experiments. We're gonna have to get the compounds that go into all of these pigments and test them individually to find out what could cause any sort of irritation or explosion.
So what goes into tattoo ink? The pigments are a potpourri of chemical compound, including iron oxide, zinc oxide, and titanium dioxide.
So the theory is the metallic components that are used in tattoo pigments have been having some reactions with the MRI magnetic field. So what we have here are a couple of those components. We have iron oxide, we have the copper and the zinc, and the mercury. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to expose some of these materials to a strong electromagnetic field.
We can see if the pigments line up with the magnetic field. Secondly, if the theory is that there's sort of a current being induced, we have a voltmeter to check for that. And of course, if the pigments are creating some sort of excitation in the skin and heating it, we have a thermometer to check and see if there's any temperature difference.
Which compound is the culprit? One by one, they're tested.
Okay. Copper and zinc.
But only one, iron oxide, reacts to the magnetic field.
After all of that testing, it looks like iron oxide is definitely the culprit here. I mean, you could see it just moving over the magnetic field. It would line up.
Well, we still need to make a tattoo explode. So what I'm thinking is we'll make our own ink. Mix in some iron oxide, make it a thick batch, and then tattoo someone. I figured you'd be the good person who would try it on.
No, no, no,
All right.
no.
The Junior Mythbusters are trying to make tattoo ink that will explode in an MRI. They're going shopping for art supplies at the butcher's.
We need some pork.
But yeah, but it has to have the skin left on it.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
You can get the meat off the skin. So what's it gonna be, the leg or the belly?
Don't ask me, I'm a vegetarian.
I would say we should go with the belly. I mean, it's like a nice big canvas that we can draw all over.
It's probably a little more tender as well.
Hey, look, it still has little hairs on it.
This is my old friend Maddie, and he is responsible for the new ink on my arm.
Welcome, Maddie.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And he's here today. He's gonna show us how to tattoo on our pig.
All right.
Hey, Maddie, you ever tattoo a pig before?
Nah, I never tattooed a pig. I was told to try pig ears when I was learning how to tattoo, but I never tried a pig. I used my own leg.
Matty's heard the MRI myth too.
I don't think that it's true because I would hear a lot more about people coming back to the tattoo parlors and being like, what happened to my tattoo? But I've never heard anybody come into a tattoo parlor and say, I went and got an MRI and my tattoo exploded. You know, I think that would be pretty big news.
The pork is cut into portions. Matty will use 2 different inks, a regular tattooing pigment and a special brew full of iron oxide, the one compound that reacted to the electromagnet.
So, Maddie, here's the ultra metallic pigment. Check it out, see if you think the consistency is good enough.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right, it's time to get some pigment into this pig.
It's kind of gross.
You're not getting near my arm. You're not getting near me with that thing.
Carrie, it might be safer if you stick to felt tip.
Let's see if there's any change near it.
Careful your credit cards and stuff again. Make sure you don't wear a wallet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, look at that. I have bobby pins in. I could feel that, too.
Back at the MRI machine, the super iron oxide ink takes on a life of its own. The container is suddenly sucked right into the core.
So that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work.
That was completely nutty. The iron oxide got completely sucked into the magnet.
Yeah, the box flew right off, and that was pretty cool.
Thank goodness we taped the top. Otherwise, I don't think they'd let us come back.
The pork bellies are primed for scanning.
Okay, so this is our special MythBusters Super Iron Oxide ink.
So if anyone's going to explode, it's going to be this one.
There's a glitch on the image. The heavy iron oxide content seems to be having an effect.
So you think that what we tattooed is actually making an interference on your scan?
Definitely.
But it's not explosive.
Well, it didn't explode, so go ahead and blot it and see if any of the pigments came up.
No.
No.
No pigment's been pulled to the surface.
All right, so next one we're going to do is the traditional iron oxide, what you normally find in a regular tattoo parlor.
The iron oxide in the regular ink also interferes with the scan, but the effect is much smaller. But in the end, Scotty, Tori, and Carrie are left with chunks of unexploded tattooed pork.
All right, Scotty, exploding tattoos, tell us what you came up with.
Well, clearly iron oxide is the culprit here. Iron oxide definitely reacts to the magnetic field, and it's very common in a lot of tattoo inks. But at most, it's going to cause heating. There was one case of a blister with the operators that we talked to, but it's not going to explode.
So you're telling us there was no exploding tattoo?
No, Jamie, I know that disappoints you, but I'm a little relieved about that.
So myth confirmed, plausible?
Myth busted, I'm saying.
The MythBusters killer quicksand rig's almost ready.
Push up, push up.
My foot was stuck under it, sorry.
Well, you know, we make this stuff up as we go, and it's always surprising when it actually works like we thought it would, and that's kind of the way this looks like it's doing. Everything's coming together relatively quickly. Very good.
Oh, look at that, that's beautiful.
Just gotta hope it works.
If this valve right here failed, the pump would cease to put water into the tank and our sand would become a deadly, solid mass of sand that we would be in.
There's nothing like a huge piece of earth-moving equipment to bring out the boy in Adam.
You're good. Stop.
Well, how about that?
Now I gotta figure out how we're gonna get at that underside. That's pretty scary letting it go all at once. There she goes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, look at the bag drain. Oh, that is so cool.
What do you think? I got my own island. All right, well, the tank is full of sand and water, and we're sort of primed.
Well, let's turn on the pump and start getting some hydration to the sand. Wow, Jamie.
Oh my God!
No problem at all, man. It's going right away. Jamie?
Yeah?
I believe we have quicksand here.
Now, Adam and Jamie were planning on having a nice sandy surface, but what they've got is a quagmire and a quandary.
Unfortunately, our outlet ports aren't letting the water out nearly fast enough. These ports up here that I've put in are supposed to let water out before it reaches over the top of the sand so that it can look like a sandy beach and then all of a sudden it turns into quicksand. Unfortunately, the sand is so fine, it's clogging up those ports and the water's just going up and over it.
The rig is working. Everything's working exactly as planned. We just need to figure out how to filter this sand a little better to get something that looks good.
We've put in some cotton batting, which is like stuffing for stuffed animals or actually for quilts. And hopefully the larger surface area of that will allow more water to flow through while still holding back the sand. So we're just about to try it. Yeah, it seems okay. Let's get more sand in.
Meanwhile, Christine's managed to finish the hydrometer without destroying Jamie's workshop.
This hydrometer will give us a reading on this water and will tell us if we put it in the quicksand whether it is more or less dense than this water.
The hydrometer floats in the water and its buoyancy level is marked. Then it's dunked in the tank.
It's floating. That just shows really nicely that the water-sand mixture is a lot more dense than water.
This is what it would be if it was H2O.
So in theory, a person will float better in quicksand than normal water. The killer quicksand myth is on shaky ground.
We have several escape techniques. First and foremost, we have what everyone would want if they were near quicksand, is a vine. Secondly, we have a walking stick, which is often recommended in the literature we've read about quicksand as a helpful tool for getting out of quicksand. And third is a bar, which we can throw across the top of the tank, which I should be able to hold on to in case I get really desperate. And at that point, I'll be making those sounds that you just don't make when you're kidding.
Worst case scenario is that Adam dies. And of course, we don't want to see that happen. I'd hate to have to hunt for another co-host. But you know, we've got all the precautions that we can think of reasonably to have on this, and I'm fairly sure that he'll be okay one way or another.
The pith helmet is always a good technique for finding someone who is drowned in quicksand, because it will be floating on the surface there. Oh, look, it's a white sandy beach. I don't feel any danger at all.
You will, Adam, you will. The pump switched on. Water begins to rise through the sand. As liquefaction occurs, Adam gets that sinking feeling.
You know, it feels more dangerous now than I thought. Whoa! Woo, let's go! Well, I started going down really slowly, and then when the water got up to my chest in the sand and water mixture, I kind of felt where I hit my buoyant point, which is just probably right about here. Now we've turned the pump off, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to be able to get back out of here until we turn the pump back on.
Adam is far less dense than the quicksand, and so he's suspended.
I think we've created a very realistic scenario for a worst-case scenario quicksand.
Drown, you bastard.
We're using incredibly fine sand, usually called sugar sand. We've got water bubbling up through it like an artesian well, and you know, when we get it working, we definitely go down it. I got one leg almost. This vine is great. Oh my God.
Now it's Jamie's turn in the tank.
That's amazing. This is just so buoyant. I'm totally floating here. And I'm not touching the bottom, so that, look at the buoyancy on that. I'm like a piece of styrofoam in here.
This is more fun than should be allowed. All right, what is our final verdict on movie-style killer quicksand?
Well, we know that people and even animals have died in quicksand, but it's usually because of exposure of some sort, like dehydration. You know, they were no longer capable of extracting themselves, so they stayed there till they died.
And the elements got to them. So it's not really like the quicksand dragged them under slowly like we see in the movies and then drowned them.
No, in fact, you're quite buoyant because the quicksand is sort of a mixture of sand and water that's actually quite heavy, and you float like a cork on it. The best thing you can do is just lay on your back, and you're going to bob around fairly high up in it, and then, of course, use the vine or the walking stick or whatever happens to be handy to try and gently pull yourself out of it.
So the MythBusters' final word on Hollywood-style killer quicksand: confirmed, plausible, or busted?
Surprised you even have to ask. It's absolutely busted. No such thing.
I agree. Completely busted.
On this episode of MythBusters Junior,
Is there a college you could go to blow things up?
Allie, Valerie, and Rachel investigate the myth of canned air and a paper shredder.
You would totally get freaked out if you were in the office. Oh, it just exploded. Explosions!
Could these everyday household items explode when combined?
I love it. Oh my God.
And Elijah, Jesse, and Cannon take on a mythical meteorological mission.
Myth's primary ignition.
Is it impossible to make mayonnaise during a lightning storm?
Look, electricity in the mayo. Whoa!
The result is entirely shocking.
What is happening?
Awesome!
Yes, I'm back. With the brand new team of the best builders, the brightest minds, and the boldest busters I could find. Yes, they're a bunch of kids, but the myths, ha! They are as full-size and as explosive as ever. This is MythBusters Jr. So the myth is that if you start cleaning out your paper shredder with canned air or Bust Off, a division of Savage Industries, you couldn't cause an explosion. This is an ideal MythBusters story. Two commonly available things that together can yield potentially an uncommon and very dangerous outcome. Now, we have not been able to find any reports of spontaneously combusting paper shredders, so it seems pretty natural that the first place to start investigating is to take a look at the flammability of whatever's in this can.
So what exactly is canned air?
It's not just air in a can. It also has a propellant which allows the air to come out under pressure, which makes it perfect to clean those hard-to-reach places on your tech. Nice.
The can is full of compressed gas. Under pressure, it's liquid. Hit the nozzle, and it sprays out as a gas. But what about its potential for a combustion catastrophe? To find out, first, a flammability test.
Safety's off.
The gals might have taken inspiration from the MythBusters' love of a flamethrower. But unlike Adam and Jamie's frantically ferocious firefight with a fire extinguisher, they're aiming to generate a more controlled stream of fire with this experiment.
Yeah, that's right. Kick that, yeah.
Valerie wields the sword of safety.
Kick it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Rachel preps the bust-off, ready for blast-off.
Can going in, I think. Yes, can going in. Take my string.
Yes, I shall.
Pull.
And Allie provides the critical element.
Playing the role of our ignition source will be this here lighter, which will be lit from a safe distance by our handy-dandy incinerator 8000, because, you know, try not to lose an eyebrow.
Hey, it's time for us to have a talk. I know I don't need to tell you not to try this at home, but this story involves a paper shredder and canned air, two things you find in a lot of households. So let me add one more bit of discouragement to this mix, and that is the propellant of this can. It's great for our ozone. It doesn't deplete it. But when you set that propellant on fire, it creates a couple of really poisonous compounds. So please, don't try this at home.
With everyone safely in position, it's time for ignition.
This is canned air flammability test. In 3, 2, 1.
Did this light?
But there's no liftoff.
Nothing.
Nada.
Oh man. Oh, it's just putting the flame out.
Try it again.
Yep, the liquid propellant is vaporizing into gas.
The air's just putting the flame out.
But Team Shredder has an idea to alter the mix.
Maybe if we flip it upside down, then we'll get a better result.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's try it. Let's go try that.
Time to flip this can upside down. Oh.
The theory is that gravity will push more liquid down through the nozzle, adding more fuel to the fire.
Okay, this is canned air flammability test, upside down can, in 3, 2, 1. Oh! There we go. Do it again. Oh my gosh!
That is so cool.
That is really cool.
Yes.
That was awesome. So canned air is flammable.
Upside down. Wow. Nice.
So by intentionally misusing their bust-off, the team has the desired outcome.
So we know that canned air is flammable, and we know that paper is flammable. Now time to put this in the paper shredder. What can possibly go wrong? Ooh, flames. Boy.
With the first myth literally lit, it's time to check in on the boys who are cooking up myth number 2.
I found this next story in an early 1970s cookbook right next to a recipe for making mayonnaise. There was a tip that said, do not try this recipe during an electrical storm. It could inhibit your ingredients from combining. Could this be true? Could a simple and everyday electrical storm prevent mayonnaise from coming into existence?
To crack this myth, the guys need to first understand the method and science that goes into making a perfect batch of mayonnaise.
Step 1, grab an egg.
Okay.
Resident fabricator Jesse has swapped a welding torch for a recipe book and applies his expert assembly skills.
None of us have actually made mayonnaise before, and it's an important step for this myth. So I started calling out ingredients, and we started whipping up our own batch. Crack your egg in your cup.
Mayonnaise is the creamy combo of egg, lemon juice, mustard, and oil.
Are we done with this lemon? Is this lemon
Yes, we're
gonna get...
definitely... That is disgusting. That is nasty.
All right.
The science lies in the emulsification. That's the process of mixing 2 or more liquids which are normally unmixable.
Get your mixer.
In Mayo's case, it's the egg yolk and mustard which work to bind the egg white, lemon juice, and oil. When blended together, they emulsify into a mouth-watering marvel of chemistry.
All right, and then put some seasoning.
Okay.
You're like one of those famous cooks that does everything perfect. Elijah, easy on the seasoning, please. Make sure it's all mixed good.
I'm scared to taste it. This actually isn't that bad. Would you be willing to allow me to try yours?
You want to?
Do I really want to do this? I may have overseasoned mine. It was because I added the entire dish of salt. I just...
Do it.
It wasn't half bad. It was totally bad.
Subjective seasoning aside, they've cracked the chemistry.
Now that we know how to make the perfect mayo, we need to build a machine that can automate that for us.
And knowing Adam's innate ability to cook up a storm,
Cooking in a bomb suit, only on this show.
the guys decide to dial in his experience and develop a prototype.
I love food myths. I love food stories. I love food. My family, we are all avid cooks, and we love experimenting and making things taste good. But I also love food stories because everybody has to eat. And food science is one of the best ways to teach people about actual science. We did a ton of awesome food stories over the course of making MythBusters. Man, I remember it as if it was yesterday.
Like when Adam and Jamie tried to cook up their holiday feast in an unconventional oven.
We've mapped out the temperatures of this entire car to find where we can cook these things.
All right, we got a car full of food and 4 hours to cook Thanksgiving dinner. Let's go. MythBusters road trip.
And the results got everyone's motor running.
Oh, nice.
This is good.
Everything on this plate is genuinely delicious. Man, makes me hungry. A machine so that we would put the ingredients in the thing, flip a switch, and it would make mayonnaise for us. What does that machine look like?
I'm thinking like there's a thing that attaches the immersion blender to the belt, and the belt would rotate, but the immersion blender always stays facing down.
So it operates kind of like you see in a train wheel work, right? Like the steam engine pushes the piston. I think a cam is a great way to go here. We could come up with a program for going slow at the beginning and then speeding up and adjusting the amount of speed it took to make mayo until we have an automatic mayonnaise making machine. We could make millions!
I don't think this is how they make factory mayonnaise machines.
Probably right.
Just a thought.
Do any of you guys have experience programming with pocket computers?
Yes.
Shall we get to building?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Come on.
Is it really impossible to make mayonnaise during a lightning storm? To put this meteorological myth to the test, the guys have designed and built the Mayobot.
This is our first prototype for the automatic mayonnaise making machine. We need to convert rotational motion into linear motion, and this is what a cam does. The stepper motor will rotate the cam, moving the blender up and down, creating the perfect batch of mayo every time.
First up, electronics whiz Elijah records the ideal blend duration.
1 minute, 4 seconds.
And programs the Mayobot accordingly. But will it work?
3, 2, 1.
Batch number 1? It's clear the bot's not ready for prime time.
The mayo does look a little watery.
First batch complete. Failure.
Elijah goes to work adjusting the code. And several failed attempts later,
We're getting close, but it's not quite what we want.
our resident hacker closes in on programming perfection.
Commence primary ignition.
The result? 5-star Robo-Mayo.
It looks pretty good.
It looks nice and thick, like mayonnaise should.
I would put this on my sandwich.
So maybe the guys can make millions after all.
Welcome to the mayonnaise robot. This thing will save you so much time. You can save 70 seconds of your life making mayonnaise and adding all of the ingredients. You literally have to press a button and it's done. For only $9.99, you can get so much time back into your life. You can visit a friend's house for 70 seconds. But wait, there's more. If you call within the next 20 seconds, you'll get not one, but 2 mayonnaise making machines. And you get that perfect, thick, creamy mayonnaise that you've always wanted for your beautiful sandwiches. Who is this person?
Or perhaps it's best if they quit daydreaming and get their head back in the clouds for the myth at hand. The bot's built, but what are the lightning storm properties that could inhibit mayo from emulsifying?
First and foremost, you need a cloud. You need moisture in the air. Then you need rising air, air that's been heated by the sun so that it rises off the earth, creating a long cloud. And as it rises, it creates a low pressure zone, that pressure that needs to be rebalanced by wind coming in from outside. That barometric drop is the second component of a thunderstorm. And then as the air rises and as those air molecules are colliding against each other and against ice and moisture in the cloud, they create small electrical charges, which generates, yes, you guessed it, the lightning. Now, we don't know whether the moisture or the barometric drop or the electricity is the culprit that might potentially cause this myth to be confirmed, so every single one of those will have to be tested.
It's the type of experimental process which team player Jesse lives for.
My dad's been teaching me skills for years, and one of them is how to work with other people. Any chance I get to collaborate, I'm in.
And he's got an idea to house the perfect storm.
I think we need to build a chamber.
Into which we can introduce these conditions?
Yes.
All right. How would we adjust the humidity
We can put like a humidifier.
Yeah. What about a drop in pressure? We could hook a vacuum pump into it.
Yeah.
And as for ambient electricity, we just got to bring in some big pieces of electrical equipment. That's going to be fun.
So while the guys go about rigging a storm box, the girls are testing the myth that using canned air on a paper shredder can cause an explosion.
I have the feeling that this next test is going to be really exciting, just judging by the warning labels that are on these various products. For example, this one says, don't use canned air. This one says, don't flip it upside down and don't set it on fire. And it also says, don't use in paper shredders.
They know the canned air is flammable. But to get an ignition spark from the shredder, the team needs to disable the manufacturer's safety mechanisms.
MythBusters has a long tradition of disarming the safety features on several different pieces of equipment.
Exhibit A. When Adam and Jamie tested the myth that an overpressurized water heater can turn torpedo, they disabled several key safety features to make a defunct and dangerous boiler go boom.
Wow!
Needless to say, Team Shred is hoping for a similar spectacular result.
Add this one to the list. Time to make this even less safe.
To give themselves the best chance of success, problem solver Allie deactivates a pair of sensors designed to shut down the motor when it's overworked.
Beautiful. Here we go, you guys. Does it look amazing?
Yes, beautiful.
Yay, it works.
That's awesome. Okay, making it safe.
Working with Rachel and Allie is amazing. They're super smart and know how to problem solve.
All right, let me replace this can.
This is it. The team has all the ingredients for the mythical explosion. A faulty paper shredder with the manufacturer's safety mechanisms disabled, plus canned air. Will they go boom?
All right, this is paper shredder kaboom, no safety. In 3, 2, 1. Nothing?
No?
Do it again.
Rachel realizes her alignment is off,
The can might not be hitting.
and the bust-off is missing its target.
Okay, I'm gonna go readjust that real quick.
A few words of friendly encouragement,
You had one job, Rachel. I'm sorry, I broke one job.
Be calm.
That should do it. All right.
and they're back on track.
Okay, this is paper shredder kaboom test, no safety, take 2. In 3, 2, 1. Yep. Let's leave it for a bit. Let it heat up. Yeah. I feel like something's gonna happen, but it's not happening.
I don't have very much confidence in it right now. We have all the ingredients for the recipe of disaster, and yet there's no explosion still. So we're probably gonna need to change the recipe. This is ridiculous.
There are many warning labels on both the canned air and the paper shredder that say, don't put us together. And when we did, nothing happened.
This is ridiculous.
But as Adam explains, it's failure by design.
The manufacturers of these machines understand that flammability is a potential problem, and they've gone to great lengths to eliminate it, not just with warning labels on the top, but the interior engineering is all about isolating the different pathways and parts of this to keep any fire from happening. And that tells me that the girls have their work cut out for them. This is not going to be an easy set of circumstances to replicate.
It's a perfect project for 3 determined young minds.
Valerie and Rachel, they're really good to work with. We complement each other, so I want to be able to develop that a bit more and see where it ends up.
We have the best case scenario here. We have the flammable propellant and we have the safeties deactivated on the machine.
We have all the pieces, but we don't have an explosion.
Well, why don't we take this apart and see if we're missing anything?
Good plan.
Yeah, sounds good.
To assist with the surgery, Valerie calls on design consultant Tamara.
Doctor?
Doctor, is the patient prepped?
Yes. Let's begin.
Screwdriver?
And the scientific diagnosis?
It looks like the only source of ignition is that motor.
The brushes are gonna give a little spark off, so you wanna plug it in and see what we got?
Totally.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Such a cute little spark.
It's cute, but it has potential.
We could make it bigger by aging the brushes.
That sounds awesome.
Scraping back the brushes replicates long-term use and abuse of the machine.
And do a couple line etches around. And there, you aged it.
That's it.
It's like at least 10 years older now.
Wow.
Good job. Now we should get some big sparks.
So by wearing down the motor, they have clearly ramped up the size of the spark.
We helped it in its aging process. It's not cheating. It's as though this machine has been shredding paper for years now. Allie!
What?
Okay, let's get to work.
Meanwhile, Allie and Rachel are on a mission to maximize the combustion capacity.
Let's take a look at another potential fuel source.
Mm-hmm. The paper.
Oof. So
Goodness, wow.
And Allie's brought her physics A game to the table.
This dust is really good for our test. If you think about that, for each of these little shreds of paper, that all these dust particles are just tiny versions of these, more edges equals more surface area, and more surface area equals more fire. Dust equals the most fire.
That's so cool. You just blew my mind. I think we're gonna have to make some more dust.
Allie is literally the perfect blend of a MythBuster. She is nerdy, but really, really clever.
Growing up in the Midwest has given Allie the light bulb moment they've been looking for.
This kind of reminds me of what happens back home in South Dakota, where if you have a lot of grain in a silo, then all the grain dust comes into the air and it has a lot of air surrounding it, which makes it really easy to light on fire and really easy to spread the fire to the other particles, causing an explosion. Yay!
A catastrophic dust explosion is a phenomenon the MythBusters are familiar with.
2, 1! Whoa! Oh my God! That was frightening!
And that's just what the team is hoping for.
Ooh, look at that dust.
Alrighty.
But could a dust explosion occur in a paper shredder? It's time to find out with a full-scale build that matches the worst-case scenario.
All right. That looks good. Okay, is this level? Is this level?
No, stick your side.
With the scene for our corporate catastrophe set, there's just one thing missing. An office worker who's dummy enough to step in.
Just a little bit of a flop there. Okay, you guys all know Buster. You've probably seen him on TV a couple of times as well in some pretty tough situations. He ran out of health insurance, and so he decided to come work here at Heinemann Savage Paper Company, where this branch is known for throwing office parties and accidentally lighting things on fire. This is it, the worst case scenario. Or for MythBusters, the best case scenario. When I press this button,
our paper shredder with its newly aged brush motors will activate, replicating the sparks of an overused office shredder.
Once our paper shredder is running, I'll pull this string, releasing our flammable propellant, which should aerosolize our paper dust. Once that happens, we'll finally figure out if your paper shredder's out to get ya. Boom.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready. Okay, here we go. Good.
That work?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
This is Paper Shredder Kaboom, worst case scenario in 3, 2, 1.
Nothing? Come on, get that trigger finger, let's go.
Allie frantically flips the switch, hoping to initiate a spark.
Video games don't fail me now.
Rachel pumps in the propellant.
Explode! Come on!
But once again, it only builds frustration.
There's nothing happening, really?
No boom. And the myth might be busted.
I think this is actually the one time Buster's happy.
But the team's not done yet. A 1970s cookbook states that it's impossible to make mayonnaise during a lightning storm. Could this be true? To find out, Elijah, Cannon, and Jesse are busy building a test environment.
In order to control the weather, we had to think outside of the box, or in this case, inside the box.
So, are there clouds on the horizon for mayo makers?
The three main components of an electrical storm are ambient electricity, high humidity, and a drop in atmospheric pressure. We're gonna be testing all of these in our storm chamber.
This is mission control. With this little box here, they can control the humidity inside the box, the barometric pressure, and the electrical fields. And then when they want to make mayo, you just push a button and it'll go.
The guys will test each of the variables one by one. First up is humidity. And to calculate the concentration of water vapor in the air, college sophomore Cannon does his thing.
The average humidity in a common electrical storm is about 93 to 100%. And that's what we're replicating here in our storm chamber and Grandma's kitchen.
There is our mixture for our mayo.
So, what are we looking for in all these tests? It's pretty simple. If we can't mix mayo, then this myth is confirmed. Here we go. Flip in the humidity switch. In 3, 2, 1.
Inside the chamber, the air becomes thick with moisture.
53%.
Once above 93% humidity, the conditions match those of a severe electrical storm.
Okay, it is now at 99%.
Grandma, are you ready to make some mayonnaise?
Yes, little boy.
Okay, Grandma.
Let's hit the button. It looks like it is making it.
Yeah, it looks like it's making it pretty well.
Time for the all-important taste test.
So what is it like?
Tastes like mayonnaise.
We can all agree it's slightly thinner mayonnaise, but it's still mayonnaise.
Yes.
So if the myth is true, humidity is not the culprit.
For our next test, we're gonna simulate a barometric pressure drop.
The guys use a vacuum to lower the pressure inside the chamber. But will it suck the life out of their mayo?
Now, just because I'm tapping, it doesn't mean it's broken. You just gotta give a little tap, tap, and it works fine.
Okay, a few more taps, Jesse.
With the pressure firmly on,
Barometric pressure mayo test in 3, 2, 1.
Are we making mayo?
It looks like it.
the mayo maker once again delivers.
Well, it's mayo.
Well, it looks like mayo, smells like mayo, and tastes like mayo, so I think we're good.
The myth is that it's impossible to make mayo in a storm, and 2 of the 3 variables have been eliminated. Time to amp things up.
What's next?
Electricity.
Awesome!
Explode! Come on!
We aged the motor from the paper shredder to try to get it to explode, and nothing.
You know, paper shredders are really starting to annoy me.
Well, I mean, if you were experiencing a paper shredder jam, then you might want to try to reverse the motor and see if that gets a piece of paper out.
That's a great idea. I'll have a look at the motor.
Determined to find a plausible scenario, Valerie and the girls aren't giving up on the myth that using canned air on a paper shredder can cause an explosion without a fight.
Valerie is amazing to work with. She is, like, truly a warrior.
By altering the direction of the motor, they believe they can create more heat on the brushes.
Miss Tamara, we have our worst case scenario, but just no explosion. Now that I think about it, if you had a real paper jam, you would be pissed off and cranking this back and forth.
I think you're right. I can make that possible from behind the blast shields.
That would be awesome.
Okay, I'll work on it.
In theory, the change should generate a bigger spark.
My friends back there are working on making a remote switch to control the forward and reverse motion of the paper shredder. So hopefully that'll change our test results, because every variable matters.
And in practice, the results are better than expected.
Okay, so check this out. Look here for the spark. This is what you see when you go forward. This is reverse. But now, if you actually surge back and forth.
Oh, hello! That was awesome.
That was a lot better. Think of it this way. If you're trying to push a car and you've got to push some force behind it to get it going, you're going to put forth a little bit of energy. Now, if that car is actually rolling backwards and you're trying to stop its motion and then push it forward, it takes a lot more energy. Just like that, the motor's having to work twice as hard to be able to not just go in reverse when you switch it over, but also stop going forward. So again, big spark. It may be the spark they need.
And with that, it's time for take 2.
Are you guys ready? Ready. All right. This is Paper Shredder Kaboom. Worst case scenario.
Now with the ability to go forward and reverse.
Here we go. And 3, 2, 1.
You wanna try spraying it again?
Oh! Dang!
Yeah! And there you go.
Oh, fire!
There was fire. But was it the explosive combustion they're looking for?
All right, well, let's check out the high speed. Oh, it looks like the fire is starting because of the propellant on the outside rather than the particles on the inside.
The surface fire is a solid indicator that this myth is well and truly alive. Due to the modifications that disabled the safety features on the paper shredder, the team is one step closer to an explosion.
Well, we got a reaction, but we think that the propellant on the surface is actually catching fire and not going deeper into the shredder.
From the initial test results, the team knows the can's contents don't ignite when upright.
The air's just putting the flame out.
And to maximize flammability, they've been using the can in an upside-down position. But in this test, the spray's liquid-to-gas ratio caused by the inverted orientation failed to aerosolize the dust. So it may be a case of less is more. They require propellant in order to ignite the spark, but also enough air to circulate the dust inside the shredder bin.
Hello.
For their final attempt, they're splitting the difference at 45 degrees.
So we're repositioning our canned air to see if the air itself can't aerosolize our dust. Come on, get in there. All right, good. To see if we can get a real kaboom.
As they head into the eye of their mythical storm, our Mayo makers are ready to test the third and final variable, electricity.
What is happening? What is happening? That was extremely weird.
Question is it impossible to make mayonnaise in an electrical storm? There's only one way to find out. And it's not the first time MythBusters has tackled the effects of lightning.
If you're playing a round of golf in a thunderstorm and you're wearing metal cleats, you're more likely to get hit by lightning.
The team modified a pair of mannequins.
Will lightning be attracted to your golf cleats?
And ensured they had the same electrical properties as real golfers.
The ballistic gel is going to give us the same kind of resistance to electricity as the human body.
Okay. Yeah.
He's a unicorn.
In true MythBusters style, they ensured their golfers' fashion was on par.
We have found some leather-soled shoes with metal cleats. It's going to give us the best conduction path. Now, to be a really good comparison, we have our modern rubber-soled shoes with plastic cleats.
You know, I've never seen a golfer with just golf shoes. That would freak me out.
And with the dummies sitting pretty, they unleashed the lightning.
All right, fire it up.
One on plastic. Two plastic, one metal.
And after a series of shocking tests, they had a result.
We had 2 identical ballistics gel dummies at equal distances from our high voltage source. What we saw was a fairly equal distribution of lightning strikes between the 2, which indicates that there's no difference having the metal cleats.
So that means metal cleats do not attract lightning. This myth is busted.
Busted. Busted.
That one was proven to be totally bogus. Will Making Mayo join the busted list?
Now, the amount of electricity they're going to put into this chamber, 60,000 volts per meter, is like the storm is on your house. You would feel the electricity on your skin, and the last thing on your mind would be making mayonnaise. The first thing would be survival.
Right now, it's the survival of the myth which is at stake. And the guys are all set for the final test.
small note, these two devices on either side of our experiment are called Jacob's ladders. They're powered by a 15,000-volt neon transformer that is allowing its electricity to arc across these two cables as it goes up. They don't have anything to do with our experiment. They just look really, really cool. They really sound like this.
Ambient static electricity, worst case scenario, test in 3, 2, 1.
I love the hum in the air.
40,000 volts. And 60,000 volts. Press the mayonnaise button in 3, 2, 1.
Whoa! Guys, check out the Mylar. That is not a breeze. That is the ambient electricity, the static electricity causing it to dance like that. If you were in that room, you would only want to run. All right, gentlemen. Who wants to try the mayonnaise? Did we get mayonnaise?
We got mayonnaise.
Not one of the 3 component parts of a storm has affected the mayo making. But they're not done yet.
Next, we have to put everything together.
With the humidity, the barometric pressure, and electricity.
Yes.
All right. It's time to put it all together at once. This is the worst case scenario. We're gonna find out if we can still make some mayonnaise. All right, the pressure has dropped low enough. Our humidity is at 99%. We're at 60,000 volts per meter of ambient static electricity. Jesse, get ready to make some mayo in 3, 2, 1. Make mayonnaise.
So loud, it actually sounds like we're in the middle of something.
I know.
It looks like it's making mayo.
I agree.
My worst nightmare would be like not mixing it all, and I would have to eat a raw egg.
That would be totally gross. Oh, it stopped. Okay. Let's turn off the electricity. Let's go test it. Okay, Elijah, this is it. Final taste test. Tell me what you think. Did we make mayo in a lightning storm?
It tastes like mayo. It's still thin, but it tastes like mayo.
How do you guys want to call this myth?
Busted.
Busted. Busted.
I agree. It's busted. Now that it's busted, I've got one more cool thing to try.
With the myth's plausibility fried, Adams called in high-voltage expert Johnny Volt.
What the heck is that on your arm?
This is a mini Tesla coil. I brought a couple of Tesla coils today, but this is a little one. It's 400 watts, but it's about 30,000 to 40,000 volts coming out of there.
Wow. And what are these tubes in our arms for?
Those are fluorescent tubes, and these are to illustrate that there's an electrical field coming out of the Tesla coil. So here.
So what is this exactly?
It's a high voltage, high frequency generator.
This thing is really cool. It looks like you have this crazy electric arm.
Can I please try that?
Of course you can.
Unlimited power!
All right, you ready for the big Tesla coil?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, gentlemen, I need you to put on your safety glasses. Bring in Storm 2.0.
Johnny Volt's custom kit can generate lightning strikes on demand. And Adam wants to see what could happen if lightning were to directly strike the mayo maker.
That is a Tesla coil that can put out bolts of electricity up to 200,000 volts.
Wow.
All right, here we go. Making mayo in a lightning storm 2.0. In 3, 2, 1. Yeah! Look! Electricity in the mayo. Whoa! it's compromising a rig. Come on, rig. Come on, you can do it. And down again. Whoa! Okay, here it goes. There we go.
I think we just broke it.
Did we just fry the machine?
I'm not exactly sure. Every single aspect of a lightning storm that we tested still allowed the mayonnaise-making robot to make mayonnaise, except for this one, and that's because it fried both our stepper motor and our immersion circulator. Well, it turns out that a lightning storm can inhibit the making of mayonnaise, but only because it fries your appliances. Elijah, you still want to try?
No. I think the myth is still busted, though.
I would tend to agree. Anyone else want to try?
After you.
No, I'm happy to call this busted too. Let's go home.
This myth has pushed Allie, Valerie, and Rachel to their problem-solving limits.
It's not happening!
But they've pushed back, beating up the paper shredder in an all-out effort to blow it up. Using the data gathered over the course of testing, the MythBusters know that the final variable is the angle of the can. They found out that the propellant vaporizes before ignition when the can is upright, and there's too much liquid to aerosolize the dust when it's upside down. So it's time to split the difference.
We're repositioning our canned air to see if the air itself can't aerosolize our dust. Come on, get in there. All right, good. To see if we can get a real kaboom. In 3, 2.
No, wait.
Oh, are you guys doing an experiment right now?
Get over here. We got to do a test. Come on, get back here.
Okay.
Are you guys ready? Ready?
Yes.
Okay, totally.
Okay, this is paper shredder kaboom in 3, 2, 1. There we go. That was awesome.
Dudes, that was really cool.
We finally got the explosion we wanted, and it was terrifying.
There we go.
You would totally get freaked out if you were in the office and being like, oh, I'm just gonna clean this. Oh, it just exploded. What's going on here?
I really appreciate how hard the girls worked to change one variable at a time. The spark did ignite the bust-off. Canned air, paper shredders, and paper dust are literally a perfect storm of an explosive combination, and they stuck with it and proved it so.
So by extensively modifying the machine, removing the manufacturer's safety mechanisms, and disregarding the safety warnings, the verdict is in.
How do you guys want to call this?
Confirmed.
I think we could put this one to bed unless you guys wanted to go bigger.
Is that even a question? Of course we're going bigger.
Go big or go home.
No one's going home just yet. Having monitored their results to date, Adam couldn't help himself and has conjured up a supersized surprise for the expert shredders.
Let me introduce you to the Shredderator 8000.
Oh my God.
Welcome to our version of amping it up. Not only have we made a much bigger container for our paper shredder to hopefully contain a bigger boom, we have also way over-amped the motor for this shredder. And I could give you the specs and the speeds and all of that, but maybe it's better if I just show you. There we go.
When Adam says he's gonna supersize something, he really means it.
It might be on the MythBusters side of ridiculous, but it's a perfect reward for the trio's tireless efforts.
After a long time of working with all the tiny little paper shredders, this one looks pretty epic.
The best thing about it is that it's clear and we can actually see the explosion happening right in front of our eyeballs.
All right, here we go. Eyes front, this is the Shredderator 8000.
This is it, the patented MythBusters method of ramping it up. For the perfect recipe for disaster, start with plenty of paper, shredded to perfection.
Commence shredding in 3, 2, 1, shred. Shredding!
The next ingredient provides the flammable propellant, a dash of bust-off.
Commence canned air in 3, 2, 1.
Canned air!
Then stir well to achieve the perfect explosive dust storm.
Commence dispersal. 3, 2, 1.
Dispersing!
Oh, that's amazing. Come on.
Wow! Awesome! Explosions!
successful.
Haha!
Well done. Awesome.
Is there a college you could go to blow things up?
There is, in fact. And I'd be happy to write a letter of recommendation. You guys are becoming explosive experts.
Oh, man.
High fives. Awesome.
Yes!
Well done. All right, let's go have a beer.
No, we can't do that.
We're not going to have a beer. We're not having a beer. That was just an expression.
It's confirmed! Most of the time, kids are told to not play with matches, but on MythBusters, we're told to explode things.
We finally found the perfect recipe for disaster.
MythBusters figured it out before I did with their little paper shredder, and I'm really glad I got to use their institutional knowledge to get this one to go.
Just remember, everybody out there, don't use canned air on your paper shredder.
Yep, canned air plus paper shredder does indeed equal the potential for a big kaboom.
Yes, I'm back. With a brand new team of the best builders, the brightest minds, and the boldest busters I could find. Yes, they're a bunch of kids, but the myths, they are as full-size and as explosive as ever. This is MythBusters Jr.
In this new chapter, the science, spectacle,
Busters off the ground!
and explosive menu of high-octane myths may be familiar. But these new hosts bring more big brains,
Commence primary ignition.
out-of-the-box attitudes,
In 3.
and a brand new outlook
2.
to tackle a ton of hardcore myths.
Oh, hello, old friend.
And on this duct tape-tastic episode,
The sound of big machines doing our bidding.
Valerie, Allie, and Elijah
I love science!
investigate the myth you can make a working parachute from duct tape.
He's released.
And
Hey, guys.
Jesse, Rachel, and Cannon tackle the tall tale of duct tape tires.
I'm gonna be driving like a mad dog.
I just hope we don't die.
Look inside any maker's toolbox and you're likely to find a roll of this stuff.
Relax. This one hurt a bit.
Duct tape, a miracle material that can build almost anything. I'm building a net, and when a chicken walks across it, I'll snatch him up. Oh, I got the chicken! It's provided MythBusters with some of our best stories over the years.
That really is quite hairy.
We've also used it to suspend me in midair.
Whoa.
Hey!
Fun for the whole family.
And it's nice to know that some traditions never die. All right, I think we're done.
Okay. Yep. Can I come down now? This is a real sword. I'd cut myself out.
Our first duct tape myth is, can you build a functioning, life-saving parachute using only duct tape. This one actually has my wheels turning because sure, you can make cloth out of duct tape, so you could make something that is shaped just like a parachute. The question is, will that save your life? And the answer is, I have no idea. I do know it involves dropping Buster from extreme heights, and that never gets old.
Yep, our heroic human guinea pig has put in well over a decade of service, testing the effects of extreme gravity.
Oh, and that ought to do it.
When finding out if you can use an aircraft escape raft, Indiana Jones style, he really put his head on the line.
That's part of his skull.
And Allie, Valerie, and Elijah are also jumping right in. Allie, our resident ingenious inventor, has sourced a real chute to use as a template for their duct tape.
It looks like a giant taco. My name is Allie Weber. I am 13 years old and I'm from South Dakota. I am a maker, builder, and inventor. I've been Teen Vogue 21 Under 21 and I've been inducted in the South Dakota Hall of Fame. When I was 5, I wanted to build a robot for the science fair. Dad's like, okay, I guess, whatever, you know, probably not.
Hello, this is Roby the robot, and he is here to make recycling fun.
I really don't like the question of what do you want to be when you grow up? What's up with what I'm doing now? I'm a maker, I'm an inventor, and I guess, like, does that not count until I'm an adult or what? We have a C9 military parachute. We're going to be looking at the design and the size to see what we can implement in our duct tape parachute.
14 feet.
With those measurements, programming whiz Elijah has translated the pattern into 3D in CAD, a computer-aided design program.
This is our design for a duct tape parachute. It'll use 28 curved triangular panels called gores. I'm Elijah Horland. I'm 13 and I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm a maker. I specifically work with electronics.
These are the resistors, that's the battery holder, that's the computer, that's the capacitor, and that's the switch.
I've built everything from a video game system that plays over 47,000 games to an RC Trojan horse. I started tinkering with electronics when I was 9. I really like 3D printing. I've even built my own.
With the CAD software, Elijah can estimate a crucial data point to assess their chances of success.
Based on our calculations, this should be 230 pounds of duct tape.
With that info, it's over to our resident mechanical engineer, Valerie.
My name is Valerie Castillo. I'm 15 years old and I'm from Lancaster, California. I've been doing robotics for about 4 years now, and my second year I became team captain, where we won our state championships, which led us to the world championship in Louisville, Kentucky. Oh! The first time I was introduced to MythBusters, I remember seeing these two guys.
Oh, you're doing fine.
Swimming through syrup. I thought they were really weird at first. Who are these people, you know? Like, oh. Now that I'm on this show, I would totally swim through syrup.
No syrup swimming yet, but Valerie does have to apply her beautiful mind to crunching the numbers.
With the total weight of the parachute plus Buster's weight, this is a drag coefficient. You have to multiply that by 2. There's actually a formula that allows us to calculate the velocity at which Buster will land, and we're estimating he should land at about 12.786 miles per hour, which in theory he should be able to survive, but there's only one way to find out.
In our second duct tape myth, the MythBusters will be reinventing the wheel, sort of.
To be specific, the myth is if you somehow end up with 4 flat tires, is it possible to make usable replacements out of our favorite sticky fabric?
I have used over 85 miles of duct tape over the years in busting myths about this stuff, but car tires never even occurred to me. And I don't know what the answer will be. I do know this: the kids will hate the smell just as much as I do. Oh, hello, old friend.
Over the years, the team has tested the miracle material's waterproof properties by successfully building a boat. Its adhesive strength by successfully firing an 18-pound cannonball at 136 miles an hour. And its engineering versatility.
One.
To construct a trebuchet.
Yeah!
But Adam knows all too well to build anything substantial, you need a lot of it.
Sweet ride.
All it needs is a new pair of wheels.
To test the efficacy of duct tape tires, the team's starting off a little slower and beginning with a bike.
Here we go.
Given Jesse has built his own motorbike,
Oh, nuts!
changing a bicycle wheel presents no problems.
Is part of building making grunt noises?
And we are done.
Wow.
Ninja skills.
We need to be methodical about how we build our tire. I've taken some measurements of a standard bicycle tire so that our duct tape tire can be modeled after it. We'll use half-inch strips to fill the rim and then full strips to make the height.
With the specs, the guys go to work. And Cannon has a surprising confession.
I've never ridden a bike before.
Don't go too fast.
This isn't that bad.
You're going too fast.
This is pretty easy. Look, Mom, no hands.
Several miles on a road to nowhere, and they have their duct tape tire.
Cannon,
Yes.
you have a duct tape tire.
Oh, yeah.
But will it provide a serviceable ride? To find out, cue 2 comparative controls. First up, regular wheels.
We've put this cup on our bicycle and we filled it to the top with water.
Go.
And she's off.
After each set of tires takes its turn around the course,
Oh, we're experiencing some spillage.
we'll see how much water's been spilled.
My water is beautiful.
This should give us an indication of how smooth the ride is between each test.
Woo!
Yeah!
Finished.
We started off at 300 milliliters and now we're around 270.
All right, let's swap over to rims.
Okay.
If the myth requires a MacGyver-style save,
Are you ready for this?
I must be crazy.
Go.
Oh!
Oh, goodness, that sounds terrible.
then the real gauge of the duct tape success
This is a lot more than last time.
will be to see where it falls in the spectrum.
Oh, she's falling!
This is terrible!
Between a regular tire
Don't fall! Tires are really useful.
and nothing at all.
We lost the camera.
And all of the water.
This is the worst!
Yeah!
You started at 300 milliliters and now you're down to 85 milliliters now. Now it's time to test our duct tape tires.
And out with the old, and in with the new. Yeah. She's ready to ride. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, this isn't too bad. So far, so good. These duct tape tires not only look good, they're actually kind of smooth, but they also feel good.
It's working a lot better than the rims. Like, it looks like she's pedaling slower just because of how heavy they are.
I don't even care how they perform. I'm just glad I'm off those rims. This is great, dudes.
And finish.
The results are in.
These duct tape tires are fantastic.
Rachel did pretty well with the duct tape tires. We didn't lose much water. With the rims, she didn't have much traction, so her back end kind of slid out a little bit, and that's why so much water was lost. I think duct tape tires might be a viable solution.
Yep, the myth looks good for 2 wheels, but the team wants to wrap it up to 4 and add engine power. And so Cannon, Rachel, and Jesse begin the non-trivial task of making 4 car tires entirely out of duct tape.
This is our super cool contraption that we're gonna use to make a duct tape tire. To make this wheel spin, it's gonna be powered by this drill, which is connected to this belt, which is connected to this pulley. And this whole thing is going to be run by Cannon's foot. And we need to make 4 of these, so hopefully this speeds up the process.
It's a smart mechanical solution by Jesse, the team's fabricator-in-chief.
I'm Jesse Lawless, I'm 15 years old, and I'm from Slidell, Louisiana. When I get my hands on a project or get my hands dirty, that's when, like, science really gets interesting for me.
It's working!
When I was little, I spent a lot of time at my dad's shop. He owns a custom body shop. When I was, like, 12, I built a little custom mini chopper. I call it the Gremlin, and I put in a car show. I got first place, and I was like, oh my God, I got first place. I was going crazy.
Replacing a standard 14-inch air-filled tire with solid duct tape is going to be a long and laborious process.
That's a roll.
And given that it's not exactly Emmy award-winning TV, it's time for the patented MythBusters build montage.
Only 3 more to go.
Replacing a regular tire's width and wall depth takes approximately 31 rolls, or 1,800 feet of duct tape.
Looks good.
And with all 4 tires taped up and in the trunk, it's time to hit the road. For a trip to an iconic MythBusters location.
I am standing in a location familiar to regular watchers of MythBusters, one of my all-time favorite locations. I am standing in the center of the runway of the Alameda Naval Base, right across San Francisco Bay. Here comes chaos.
This is why we can't have nice things.
We have filmed hundreds of MythBusters episodes right here.
Nice work, Buster.
There's your problem.
We have crashed trucks into each other here.
That worked freaking perfectly.
If I was a different kind of person, I'd hug you right now.
I've driven backwards tactically in high heels on this tarmac.
Come on, baby. Daddy's got a new pair of shoes. Okay, that was different.
And now we are back.
Hey, guys.
They might be too young to drive on city streets, but not on a closed course.
This is it!
The MythBusters, Alameda, and Automobile Anecdotes have a long...
Why, you ask? Because secretly, you've always wondered, and that's why we're here.
and often ridiculous relationship.
It's off the ground!
Question is, how will the myth of makeshift duct tape tires compare?
Now, in seeking to test the efficacy of duct tape car tires, we're not concerned whether they're better than pneumatic tires. No, we're just curious to find if duct tape is better than nothing. And this is the course on which we're gonna test that. It is 1/4 mile long with 10 stanchions running up the center through which our driver will slalom to the end and back again. Obviously, we're gonna drive this course in duct tape tires. Before that, we're gonna drive it in raw rims. That's gonna be awesome. But the first test is, of course, the control test, and that is pneumatic tires. But there's another reason that pneumatic tires are our first test, and that's because I'm not doing the driving.
Hey, guys.
That's right, our driver for all the tests today will be young MythBuster Cannon. He may be a sophomore in college, which is more college than I have, but he's still only 12 years old and 3.5 years from qualifying for a learner's permit.
No way.
Oh, these are so beautiful. But apparently, on a closed course with a qualified instructor, none of that matters. Wow. So, that's the other reason we're starting with pneumatic tires. This will be the first time Cannon's ever driven a car, and we'd like him to get used to it.
Making our 12-year-old physics prodigy a stunt driver may be a bit of a stretch, but if anyone can, Cannon can.
I'm Cannon Huiyu. I'm 12 years old. I'm a sophomore in college, and I'm double majoring in astrophysics and engineering. When I grow up, I want to be an astronaut. I watch a lot of Star Wars, just to be prepared. The odds of this working are 3,720 to 1. I was doing research for one of the professors at TCU when I was 9, and we were studying a gas cloud called Complex A that's coming towards our galaxy through the galactic halo.
Back on Earth.
Cannon, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Cannon is all set for the first of 2 control tests. Monitoring data collection is Rachel, the team's design genius.
Hi, I'm Rachel Pizzolato. I'm 14 years old and from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm a gymnast, science geek. When I grow up, I want to be an aeronautical engineer.
Oh my gosh!
I recently won the Grand Champion Award for the GNOSEF, Greater New Orleans Science and Engineering Fair, 3 times in a row.
When I was about 4 years old, I started building with my dad. Now we have just a tricked out backyard. It's really cool.
In order to visualize how smooth the ride actually is, we're gonna have this bucket filled with water and placed in between me and Jesse.
In theory, the smoother the ride, the less water spilled. In practice,
we're gonna get soaked.
They're raring to go.
I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna be driving like a mad dog.
I just hope we don't die.
All right. The car is running. It's currently in park. You've got 2 pedals in front of you. You've got one on the right. That's how much gas goes in. So go ahead and give it a little goose. There you go. Okay. Now the other pedal to the left, that's your brake. You keep your right foot on the brake, release the emergency brake, and then put this car into drive. That's D.
Oh, I'm nervous about this.
Go ahead, pull it off. All right, now go ahead and start turning the steering wheel.
Okay.
Turn the steering wheel to the left. Keep turning, keep turning. That's it. That's great. Awesome.
With Cannon's head peeking out above the dash, perhaps the coolest first driving lesson ever. And the first control test for duct tape tires is underway.
Okay, now go ahead and give it a little more gas. Yeah, okay, turn, turn, turn. Yes, you're doing great. Turn to the right, turn to the right. Okay, turn to the left, turn to the left. That's it. To the right, to the right, to the right. Okay, now, this way you're gonna do a full U-ey. So turn hard to the left.
Okay.
All the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. Hard, hard, hard. Like that. That's what I'm talking about. You are doing great, man.
I just got soaked.
That's it. Yeah, now turn hard to the left. Yeah.
I'm getting soaked.
All right, here we go. And bringing it in, so slowly.
Hold on.
Okay, put your foot on the brake right now. Perfect. Now go ahead and put the car in park. Cannon, you just drove a car, buddy.
We're soaked back here.
That was awesome.
I'm sorry that they got wet.
Like that.
But that's just a risk of being a passenger in my car.
Perfect.
Before Team Tire proceed, Elijah, Allie, and Valerie are testing the myth that a duct tape parachute is viable and survivable.
All right, we just finished 1/84th of what we have to do.
It's a huge undertaking, 2,000 feet of duct tape rope,
Looks good.
a massive 500 square feet in 28 separate panels of duct tape canopy. And several hours later, one thing is abundantly clear. This job is all hands on deck, and the hosts have to project manage a mass assembly line.
Hi, I'm Allie Weber, CEO of Duct Tape Parachutes, and welcome to the exclusive tour of Duct Tape Parachutes manufacturing facility. Over here's our pattern station, where our workers are tracing and cutting out pieces of the duct tape to turn into our parachutes. Over here is our rope station, where people are taking pieces of duct tape and turning it into rope for our parachutes. And over here is the assembly station, where people are assembling the patterns into sections of our parachute.
What are you doing?
Over here is where the magic happens. This is where all the sections of duct tape are manufactured into one large, viable and survivable parachute. And this is our top client, Buster. He's also our only client, and hopefully not our last client.
To give Buster the best chance of survival, the team pulls an all-nighter to complete construction. And as D-Day dawns, will it be an aeronautical apocalypse now? Or will duct tape once again prove to be a miracle life-saving material? To find out, the team is decamped to a location rife with myth-busting history and weeds.
I know it looks like I'm standing in the middle of a field of California's favorite weed, anise, and, well, I guess I am, but I'm also more specifically standing on the Mare Island Naval Base north of San Francisco. Over there, we shot all of our zombie episodes.
They found us again.
And over there, we shot Duct Tape Bridge. People walk on bridges like this every day? Today we are here to do the finale of another duct tape myth, duct tape parachute. I am so excited to see this parachute. The MythBusters have done incredible work putting together this parachute. Hello. Let's check out this parachute you guys built.
Yeah.
All right, I cannot wait to see it, but more importantly, I can't wait to drop it.
Made with meticulous R&D and modeled on a military C9 chute, Valerie's done the math, and despite weighing in at 230 pounds, in theory, it should see Buster safely to the ground.
That is insane. How was it putting it all together?
Exhausting and sticky, but very fun.
I think we have different meanings of the word fun.
All right, well, I guess the next step, now that this is out, is to do a location scout. Now, you guys are experienced helicopter riders, right?
No.
No.
None of you has ever ridden in a helicopter?
No.
Oh, this is great.
Cue the music, the slow-mo, flight suits and shades. Because the first task today is to scout the location and find a safe zone to drop Buster.
Eduardo, I think we're good to take off. Okay, perfect. Here we go.
Oh my God!
Inbound to the ramp on Echo.
Oh my God! Awesome. I like helicopters. They're very fun. I want to stay up here forever now. Yeah, same.
The sheer delight on their faces. In fact, I think even Elijah liked it. It's hard to tell.
You get such a different perspective on the world
Oh
looking at
my
it from above, don't you?
I could get used to this whole MythBusters thing.
That's exactly where we mounted the duct tape bridge to walk across it.
It was basically going through a MythBusters museum in the sky.
So, that big building with the pitched roof there, that's where we shot all the zombie episodes.
And it was amazing.
And the Star Wars episode.
And having the person who actually did the myths right next to you. It was awesome.
So Adam, what have you dropped out of a helicopter before?
Oh, I've mostly dropped Buster. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Man, talk about the perks of being a MythBuster.
Speaking of which, this isn't just a joyride.
Right there. That's 650 feet? Yes, sir.
The hover height of 650 feet will allow time for the chute to fully inflate. And accounting for wind drift, the team has to identify a safe landing zone.
And it's far enough from the active road and also far enough from the water. What do you think?
I think that's good.
And with that, it's back down to earth and back to work.
Best day ever, and we haven't even dropped Buster yet.
To test the myth that in an emergency, duct tape tires can replace regular tires,
Start turning to the right.
Cannon has had his first ever driving lesson at a MythBusters bucket list location.
You're doing great. Turn to the right. Turn to the right.
I've seen the Alameda runway on TV before, but I never thought I'd be driving on it. This is pretty cool.
Perfect. That was fantastic. Cannon took off the line, slalomed through our course, came back again. All the way, hard, hard, hard. Like that. The thing to remember, if it's been a while since you learned how to drive, as it has been for me, is that the first time you move a car, it's terrifying just to be in control of something that big and heavy. So as far as I'm concerned, Cannon is fearless. Now he's about to be tireless. That is, he's about to drive this car on rims without any tires.
Yep, to test duct tape tires, the team is comparing the handling and control with regular tires and no tires at all.
It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
All right. Oh, Cannon, welcome to the weirdest second driving lesson anyone on Earth ever got. The amount of contact we have with the ground is very, very small. If you gave the car too much gas, just spin in place. Once it's creeping forward, then we'll worry about steering, which may be a whole nother living hell. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, it's exactly as bad as it sounds.
Get ready on the steering. Hard to the right, hard to the right.
Riding on rims is pretty rough.
Yes, Cannon, you're getting it. We're steering on rims, baby.
It was like nails on a chalkboard.
Yes, that's it, Cannon. Perfect. You might be wondering why we're doing something as ludicrous as driving on car rims. Like, what does that prove? Turn hard to the left. Many turns. Many turns. That's it! Yeah! Okay, straighten up, straighten up. Oh, man. You are killing it. A little more gas, a little more gas. Look, if you're testing the efficacy of duct tape tires, you're not testing them against air-filled tires. Yes, Cannon! To the right. What you're really testing is, are they better than nothing? Is this a viable fix in a pinch if duct tape is all you have? You're doing great, buddy. A little more gas, a little more gas. Harder to the right, harder to the right. Whoa!
Considering that this is the second time that Cannon has ever been behind the wheel of a car, he's pretty much a natural.
And pull hard, 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 hard.
He hit none of the cones.
Whoa! Dude!
And he navigated through the course pretty well.
Cannon, that was some top-notch driving, buddy. Give me high five.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing back there?
She's so
Good job, little bro.
I was surprised how much control you actually had while steering.
Me too.
Once again, the bucket lost a significant volume of water. But honestly, it's less a measure of how smooth the ride is and more an opportunity for Cannon to soak his co-hosts. The real measure of success for the duct tape tires is the subjective experience of the passengers, the comparative handling and control of the car, and how well the tape tires hold up.
This tire weighs 76 pounds. The only thing separating the weight of me and the weight of this tire is 3 burritos.
Our duct tape tires should hold up pretty well in the back.
4-wheel duct tape tire test in 3.
But as for the front goes, I think from the turning, since it's a front-wheel drive car, and all the friction,
2.
I think they will eventually melt and fall apart.
1.
I'm rough.
So the myth we're testing today is that you can build a viable and survivable duct tape parachute.
Well, first up, we're gonna drop Buster out of the helicopter with a normal parachute to do a control test.
Spinning counterclockwise.
I can't wait to see what happens.
The landing zone is laid out.
All right, Buster.
The reluctant fall guy is rigged
Breathe, Buster, breathe.
for the control drop with the regulation military chute. And electronics specialist Elijah gets set to collect the data.
This 3-axis accelerometer can record and read acceleration.
Black box is rolling.
From this, we can tell how fast Buster is going and the impact he had.
All right, Eduardo, let's take it up.
Okay, copy.
In both drops, the pilot will hover at 650 feet.
Oh, big machine. They make me so happy.
Buster will hang from his rig at 500 feet, giving the chute time to open, stabilize, and achieve terminal velocity.
Now, the standard use case for a parachute, of course, is that you put it in a little backpack, jump out of something that's in midair, pull the ripcord, and float safely to the ground. So you might be wondering why Buster's stretched out here with his parachute already out and open. Well, it's because Buster's not a real person. These look like hands, but he can't pull any ripcord. All he can do is karate chop soft things. If there is some reason we have to run, follow me, okay?
That's not scary at all.
So,
in order to make sure that his parachute is out and untangled. The helicopter will take off with its release mechanism with the parachute under that already open. Oh, Buster's up, Buster's up. We're gonna pull him up to his drop height. That's when our pilot, Eduardo, will activate the release mechanism and Buster will theoretically float safely to the ground.
That looks like a perfect descent. I don't see any twisting at all. Buster's sitting there comfortably in his harness. Oh.
I love science! Oh, what a day, what a day!
Okay. Eduardo, we are good for you to drop on your own mark.
Okay, dropping right now.
Whoa, there he goes!
Oh, it's so pretty!
The control drop was ideal. The parachute opened as per the experimental design, and Buster came safely back to Earth.
Oh!
That was a beautiful drop, Eduardo. Come on home.
The only issue? Buster missed his mark, landing deep in the undergrowth.
Follow right behind me. If there's a snake, I should get bit.
Okay.
But his descent, as backed up by the data, was perfect.
Buster landed at just about 10 miles per hour. That is a beautiful speed to land at, and it is exactly the zone we're hoping for from the duct tape parachute.
There we go, guys.
To give you a little context, above 16 miles per hour for a landing, that's when you start breaking ankles, and above 25, and again, these numbers aren't perfectly exact, that's when you're gonna die.
Perfect! Let's hook him to the chute.
So we're hoping for something below 16 miles an hour for the drop from Buster's parachute.
Cue take 2.
You ready?
Yes!
Okay. All right, Eduardo, take it up.
Can the duct tape parachute slow Buster's descent to a safe speed of less than 16 miles an hour?
The sound of big machines doing our bidding. For science!
It's going up.
I did the calculation. For a duct tape parachute that's 28 feet in diameter,
Looks good!
I don't see any twisting.
and carrying a Buster that's 150 pounds,
Buster's off the ground!
he should land at about 13 miles per hour. I hope.
All right, Eduardo.
This is it.
Let's drop him in 3,
Duct tape parachute is go.
2, 1, go! He's released!
This is it.
In 3,
Can everyone's favorite tacky tape
2,
really replace a regular car tire?
1.
Oh, okay.
Will duct tape retain its structural integrity
Oh my God, it's bouncy.
while bearing 3,400 pounds of car and MythBusters?
Really bumpy.
It is a rough ride.
Will the lateral frictional forces and resultant heat cause the adhesive tape to degrade?
This is awesome.
That's it, Cannon. You got it. You got it. Go hard. That's it, Cannon. Yeah! Yeah! Okay, there's your cone. Hard, faster. Come on, Cannon. You are killing this. Whoa. Okay, hold on. To the right, to the right, to the right. Yeah! Take us all the way home, buddy.
Cannon's a natural!
Oh my goodness. I'm holding on to the oh my God handle. Bring it in.
Here we go.
That's it. And come on, hard, 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 and break. Slam on it. Beautiful.
Oh!
Dude.
That's about as much fun as a 12-year-old is legally allowed to have in a car.
Time for inspection.
But crucially, how did the duct tape tires hold up?
It's got all of the rock and gravel and stuff on it, but it still looks good.
It's amazing to me. People are gonna think that we cheated and like just wrapped duct tape around a tire.
This is awesome. There's barely any slip that I'm seeing.
I'm really impressed with how well duct tape held up.
Yep, at a top speed of 30 miles an hour, with Cannon at the wheel, they held up remarkably well. However,
seatbelts on, everybody.
The team wants to put duct tape tires to the ultimate test and double the speed.
Find your oh my gosh handles.
Plus, Adam can't resist the urge to terrify his co-hosts.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah! This isn't sounding good.
Oh! Whoa, it sounds terrible.
This is awesome.
Oh, yeah! I'm amazed at how much control I have. Whoa!
We're almost drifting.
Yes! Tape is going fire! Yes! Okay, here comes the drift.
Oh, God. I was like, oh, my goodness, I hope we don't crash.
Whoa!
We took a cone out.
There we go.
When I was driving, the ride was a little bumpy, but the tires held up pretty well.
Wow, I think see things flying all the way off of us. Whoa!
I smell duct tape.
Whoa! Whoa!
As far as Adam driving, those are definitely extreme conditions.
I think we have some problems. Houston,
we have a problem.
I think I can feel some specific issues.
And that is why we can't have nice things.
Dudes, give me some. That was so much fun.
Despite Adam's inevitable need to push the duct tape tires beyond even their prodigious capabilities, the result's clear-cut.
After Adam's ride, the tires were trashed. But if I got a flat and I had a whole bunch of rolls of duct tape in my trunk and a lot of time, I think I could definitely make a tire.
Adam, this tire's gone.
Oh, yes,
Absolutely gone.
That's what we were feeling.
You destroy these things.
I did look at the one over here. This one's also seen better days, including this morning.
Overall, I'm really surprised of how good these duct tape tires actually held up.
Come on, we can make it, yes!
In the great duct tape MythBusters tradition, can you build a duct tape tire? There's no doubt in my mind that you can. Is Cannon a better driver than Adam? That's plausible.
So should we call it the myth that duct tape can make a viable tire in a pinch?
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like it's totally confirmed.
Confirmed.
Absolutely. Confirmed!
But they're not done yet. They have one more test up their sleeves.
All right, Jesse, you couldn't leave well enough alone. You put duct tape tires on rear-wheel drive sports car. Dude, let's do some burnouts.
All right. In 3, 2, 1.
That warms this old man's heart right there.
That was awesome.
Dude.
Utilizing 187 rolls of duct tape to make 2,000 feet of rope and a canopy of 500 square feet, it's been a monumental undertaking.
Buster's off the ground.
And this is the moment of truth. Will a duct tape parachute
3,
save your life?
2, 1, go. He's released.
Oh!
It's opening. It's opening.
It opened! It's open! It's open! Oh my goodness! Oh my God!
Incredibly, Buster looks like he's going to make it.
Oh, there we go. Oh, yay.
The duct tape parachute is working.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh my goodness.
That was ugly.
We just did our duct tape parachute test, and man.
Do you think Buster survived?
No, I thought he was either gonna go perfectly or horribly, and both things happened.
Oh.
It was awesome.
I'm not getting a pulse.
So I want to confirm on that last drop that Buster died. He landed at about 28 miles per hour, which is equivalent to falling out of a 4th or 5th story window. Some people in history have survived such a drop. Most don't. But that drop did yield one piece of very compelling data. And that is, once the chute opened, and it was successfully opened, even though it was for a brief period of time, the speed at which Buster was descending was 13 miles per hour. Precisely the number that Valerie's math said he should be falling at.
I wish we could do it again.
Actually, there's no reason that we can't do it again. You guys want to go for another run?
Yes.
Excellent. This might actually work. I gotta tell you, I'm a little surprised. MythBusters are doing more than prepping the chute for another drop. They're actually making some small modifications, but they're parachute valid modifications. See, a parachute has a hole in the top, and that is vital to the parachute's operation. If not enough air can pass through the chute, what happens is what we saw in this last drop, which is that air that can't escape out the top starts to escape out the sides, and the whole thing does a reverse pancake, and Buster slams into the ground. So, the MythBusters are adding some more vent holes, hopefully to improve the performance of this parachute, and they hope that that will give Buster the safe ride home he wanted.
Cue, take 2.
There he goes. Oh. All right, Buster.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, Eduardo, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, drop.
Open!
Oh.
Open!
Come on.
It's open! Yes!
Yes! Come on, Buster. You can do it. Open.
Yes! No!
Oh!
That did not look very good.
No. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he's dead, but let's go check for sure.
The test was such a beautiful failure. Because it was working, and then it wasn't. And then it was open, and then it wasn't. And then it was. And then Buster fell to his death.
Oh, man. Buster's dead. This is totally my favorite kind of story, and I still can't believe that making a duct tape parachute never occurred to Jamie and I. Look, I hear you yelling at the television screen, wondering why we're not testing with a bigger parachute, and I get it. But here's the thing, watching that second drop, watching the parachute try to stay open, the venting was perfectly done, and it kept on making the best attempt, but the heaviness of the material kept working against it until Buster died again. Look, I think if you make a chute 3 times as big, all you have is 3 times the weight and 3 times as many problems. What is that word again?
Busted.
Yes. That is not to say that we might not come back and try a much bigger chute. That might be something we very much enjoy doing next season.
Can we take the helicopter home?
I already asked, and the answer is unfortunately no.